Janine.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
No, you got it by a minute.
I'm dying to know about this 10 properties you guys are buying
I was bought. It's done.
or bought. That is awesome.
12 doors, 10 properties, 0% note.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it was good. It's good. It is good, good, good. What's up, Christina? I like seeing I'm out there walking in 29-degree weather.
It's so cold.
That's
Yeah,
impressive.
But you feel refreshed after doing it, right?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
When do you do your walks again?
Usually anywhere between like 8 and 9, between 8 and 10.
Morning?
Yeah.
Or not? Okay. So get up and
Morning.
get moving. That's nice.
Yeah, I just get up and go. Because if I don't do something like right away in the workout arena, I don't do it.
Yeah, it's nice to be outside. Like we spend so much time
It is.
and stuff like that. Sometimes I'm just like, I need to get outside and do
Yeah.
something. I don't walk consistently, but I'm trying to get better at it. It's always nice when I
At
do.
least you're doing it.
Yes. Baby steps forward. Unless Gordon gets in here and says, Richard kickering me. Janine's got her hat down. There we go. She looked like she had a blurred face on, like some of those people in a movie where it's like you can't tell who I am. What are you up to now? What are you up to now, Janine?
I just finished my meeting with Jeremy and I am heading to Home Depot to go get a refund for something for the flip.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Yo. Get all our money back.
Anthony's hanging out with his. You still got your Mr. Rogers sweater, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Part of the look.
Cardigans all the time.
What's that?
Cardigans all the time.
Yeah, I don't think I can pull off a cardigan. I just the hoodie, maybe a zip down. That's my look. Yvette, how are you today?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I am good.
I haven't been here in a while. I missed you all.
Where you been?
I don't even know. That's the truth.
Is this on your calendar?
It is on my calendar, and the phone even tells me, hey, what are you doing? Let's go. I think I've just been overscheduling myself and not really time managing very well. So I've been getting a lot of good stuff done. I just haven't been here, and this is just as important. So I need to prioritize.
Yeah. Gotta help yourself grow. We'll just talk about it on the call.
Yes.
Derek, what's up, dude? You get a haircut or you just don't have a hat on today?
No hat. Need a new hat. Got a bunch of oil on it.
We need to give him an REI Ignition hat. I have one somewhere. I'll bring it to you next time I find you. You coming next week to Leominster?
I need one of those hats too.
Possibly.
You guys didn't all get him at the event?
No.
What are you talking about? Oh, that's right. Now I know why.
We
That
got
was
a t-shirt.
that was a Madison thing. That's right.
Oh, well,
She had a
next time I'm at an event, I'm gonna steal one.
she had a rough last day. I remember that. Okay, that's right.
They always bring them to the events. There's always one there. You just gotta make sure no one's looking and run. That's all. Take off.
Yeah,
with
Mr. McQuaid he brings a lot of the Unleashed events. Come on, just grab one, Christina. You have the right to grab one.
Yeah. We got some more crowd today. Is Dan hiding again? Gordon, you have to go after Dan for in a minute.
No, Dan, who knows what Dan's doing? Need a minute, he says. Need a minute.
We got a new joinee here. His name's Jason's Fathom. It's a note-taker app. We'll see how well it works. Oh, Ann's coming in. He's back after trying to jump off a cliff.
Is he actually back or is he still in the
Okay, I'm on the thing now, so I'm not gonna be able to hear you.
What?
Thanks for joining, Jack. What?
Jack's on the thing now.
On the
Yeah,
thing. Sorry,
Jack's not
dudes.
here. I'm not gonna
Hey,
talk. I
you
can't
should
hear
all
you.
be excited. I'm talking to my wife who is doing her first MLS search right now because she
Nice.
is now part of the team, motherfuckers.
I
Hell
love it.
yeah,
I
she
love it.
is.
I love it.
Yay!
Right here.
Please don't swear. I don't like swearing. Please don't swear.
Sorry, Richie.
You back, man? Or you still out there?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm still here. I'm here till springtime.
I
I'm
saw you
trying to
tried to
hang
throw
out
your
in the
kids.
cold.
You tried to throw your kids off a cliff. I saw that on Facebook.
That was actually very, very good. I should have put it as one of my Fs. We took a hike up this mountain. Usually takes about 45 minutes with the kids. I got a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. It took about an hour and a half, and it's a pretty much a rock that overhangs like 4 feet off the ground. But since we're on a mountain, it looks like we're just throwing the kids off the cliff when we're really not. It's hilarious. But yeah.
I was scrolling. The first one I saw was you hanging off the cliff like this. I was like, the hell? We're gonna lose somebody in Ignition now.
But yeah, it's been this one my one of the other F's is physical, right? So doing pull-ups off a mountain.
Yeah. It's like I see those posts sometimes of people like hanging up buildings, but you're crazy. Why?
Yeah. No, I'm not really not. That's all an optical illusion, Jason.
I figured that after.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do something a little different today. We have 2 people in here that are starting a project together, Yvette and Dickens. We want to kind of take a look at that and see what's going on with it and see what questions we can ask and what we can learn from it or how we can help. Do you want to give us a breakdown of what's going on?
So Dickens and I we have time, right? We're here learning, and we have been going around just looking at deals and seeing how we could either do a deal together or bring deals to you all, because we are boots on the ground. We have the time, we have the ability. We're here in Worcester County, which I'm not sure how close you guys all are, but Worcester's growing. We all know that. The population in Worcester has increased by 14% in the last 2 years. So it's growing fast. So there's lots of opportunity here. So Dickens and I don't know if he can show a slide. Can he show his slides? Give him access to that. We looked at this deal. It looked like a good deal. It actually just went under agreement. So we were a little slow, but that's okay, because we're learning how to review the deals, learning how to analyze them. So our goals are twofold. Our goal is to get feedback from you to see if we're analyzing them properly, and also to let you all know that we're available and we have time and we have knowledge and we have the ability to get out there for you here in Worcester. So I don't know if he can show that. Can you show your slide?
Aya, can you make Jason, Gordon, Dickens, and Yvette co-hosts?
I'm sorry. Event co-host.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Jason, Gordon, Dickens, and Yvette.
That way we can share.
Hold on. Ghost.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this was actually a full flip in Auburn. Auburn, the ARVs in Auburn have been pretty high because it's a great community to live in. So I saw it, I was like, oh crap, these numbers look good. When we went to see the property, it was a huge flip. Like full on everything needed to be redone, and Dickens gonna go through exactly what those numbers looked like according to us. So when he's able to show that, then maybe you guys can give us some feedback on whether we looked at them properly or not, or what we need to do better.
Dickens, you get the
Go
power
for it.
yet?
Can you? You got the power?
I'm waiting for the power to share my screen. My screen already ready.
That's good. This
He
is
He
learning
needs
for
the
everybody.
power.
Talk to it, everything will be nice. Got some people who haven't done one yet.
So actually, the other thing about the Worcester community is we've increased in population by 14% in the last 2 years. And rents have increased by 62% in the last 5 years. That's humongous, huge number. So there definitely is a need here for opportunity. There's definitely an opportunity here in the city. So here's our deal that we saw.
That's pretty.
Isn't that crazy? I kind of went through it. It was actually being sold for 100,000. It needs everything. And Dickens will go on and take it from here as to what exactly it needed and the numbers that we came up with.
And guys, pipe in, ask questions, stuff like that.
Please.
Let's make this interactive.
Okay,
Yes.
then next slide. Boom. Okay, so Yvette already went over our goal, talk about the Worcester community and what's going on in Worcester. The property is 2-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet on a 0.31 acre, but need a full rehab. Have you may see by the carpet is outdated and it need everything. It is an REO. And let me see if I add one more. Okay.
Dickens, you're talking about the
Yes.
community right there. Before you go into
Excuse
this question, you talked about rental numbers and stuff like that. Was this a flip to rent that you're gonna do a single family rental?
No, this one we will do a flip to sell. But Yvette want to talk about the Worcester community because people are moving to Worcester. Worcester County. So let to show the potential of it. Either if you're doing if you're buying to hold, if you're buying to flip, the numbers are there.
What are you seeing for appreciation or depreciation in this Auburn market right now going forward? Because the numbers behind us look good. What are the numbers in front of us look like?
They're going down. The sale prices are going down a little bit. I think that in about 6 or 7 months ago, this could have been flipped and sold for easily 430, maybe even 440, but he'll show you the comp numbers that we came up with now. So they're definitely going down.
Okay.
And a rehab, we need everything. Even though there's few stuff that is working, like the electric, we see it's working. I think the water heater and furnace wasn't that old, but due to the condition of the house, we budgetize for everything. So we have a my philosophy is I rather be wrong by being too higher when it comes to my rehab costs and have some saving when we do work, or when my contractor is reviewing this thing, then trying to make things look good on paper, and it's not a deal.
Nick, what did you say about spreadsheets last night?
Spreadsheets are adjustable, but they shouldn't be.
You can make anything work just by adding a little bit more here, taking a little bit of expenses out of there. Oh, look, it works now. So Dick, I'm happy to see that's not what you're doing.
Yeah. No, I rather go full force, because we know what we don't know, and have the last number review by a contractor, then do like a lot of I receive things from whoever who's trying to not stress test their deal, trying to force things to be good, trying to work more on making things adjustable on their spreadsheet, and they're wrong. So that our rehab cost is 190 546 191, and I told you need everything, new roof, remove the carpet, put new flooring, remove I think the basement has some mold on it, redo all the 2-bathroom. There's a room in that that doesn't have a closet, but it's a good size room that we will do a 3rd bedroom to make it more attractive. The house is on city sewer and city water, that it will be too much a problem to add a 3rd bedroom.
Is there any, do we have any back taxes, judgments, or anything like that we have to worry about on this property?
No, we need to look at it. it's something that I was looking at it this morning when I realized that, you know, when I realized that, hey, it just went under agreement. So I want to focus on finishing my slide. But it's something that if we were to move forward, it's something that we will take it, even though it's a REO, the bank already own it. But if we will go to the city and see if there's any work that was done that wasn't properly licensed with the city, and do more due diligence on it.
Okay.
That's a good point, Jason. Actually, when I was looking at some properties with Jack, that's one of the things he was really good at, is searching the back records for the city for all the taxes or any liens that are on the property. So that's something I need to learn how to do better, is how to review those records. So we could add that to the plan.
You could miss, like, say this was on septic a while ago, and now you have a $30,000 betterment from the city. And if that you buy and miss that, that's $30,000 gone, which is probably your profit.
Exactly.
But
Good point.
for our ARV, that's the comp that we found. We run some comp for, we did a mix of 2 or 3.
Hey, Dickens, real quick.
Yes.
Before you get to ARV, can you go back to your rehab schedule real quick?
Yes, I can.
I have lots of interesting points on the rehab checklist as well.
Yes, absolutely. So question I have here, real quick. So is the total of it 1,579 interior? Is that what that is? Square footage?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So first question I would have is, so you're using Hammer Point, which is the REI Flow software, right? So they do have it. So just for everybody that, you know, I don't know if everybody's aware of the software that's out there or whatnot. I personally have used this quite a bit of times as well. And I really do like the way that it flows and the way that it operates. But one thing that I do know about it, and I don't know if you've done this or not, but where you have unit cost, are you adjusting what they have in there for New England, or are you using the costs that they have in there?
Honestly, that's one of those things that we discussed, you know, extensively with Yvette. We decide to go to what we have in there because we didn't want to play with it and just throw number for the purpose to throw number. We know that we will present it to a group that knows, and that's one of my personal goal. I have the system. If I can have someone help me adjust my numbers for New England, you know, I'll be very grateful.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we'll definitely have to want to work on that just going forward, right? Because like your roof replacement is low. Your vinyl siding number is low. Okay. So
insulation, plumbing low.
Insulation is definitely low as well, right? But the one thing I do want to point out to you, and I think that you've carried a bunch of money here where you don't need to, is on your flooring costs. Because you have a laminate hardwood flooring at 1,579 square feet. I actually don't mind that number of 460. I think it might be a little low, but that's okay. I'd rather see like something like around like 550 per square foot for that. But if you look at this, then you carried another 450 feet for ceramic and another 542 for more ceramic in the bathrooms and kitchen, right? So you're actually adding extra costs on there.
I know. It's because we decide to do it like that because we have some data on those numbers because we didn't do any adjustment. I say I rather overchip and have someone correct me than you know, because I know the system. I've been using the system. I know they have a national average, and due to cost of labor and things like that for the past few years, I know for going to we might be off. So I rather, you know, double chip and have some, you know, you as the experts correct us, and then act as an expert and, you know, not doing. I know we went over in the flooring because when we saw, I know a few years ago, a roof was around 10,000, and now our roof is 8,000 something. So we know that we are off. So say, okay, let's overflip. That's overdoing it, and that's one of the reasons even you know, suggest me to do for a contingency cost. We went to the maximum 20%. to
Mhm.
make sure that we are as close as possible of the actual value of the reality than be
Sure.
comfortable with a
I
spreadsheet.
got you. So go back to the other one real quick though. The other thing I would just say, but so say if you're presenting this to people that you're going to be lending money to, right? Or you're looking to raise money, you're gonna want to have this dialed in. Just for the
Yes.
reference, just for further
Right.
reference, right? So like if I'm an investor and I'm looking at this and I see that it's a 1,579 square foot home. And then I see all these other added square footage on here where there's tile and ceramic tile in the kitchens and bathrooms. At that point in time, I'm going to start questioning whether or not that person actually knows and can handle this project.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Yes,
going forward, I would just be a little bit more aware of something like that when you're going to present it to people. That's all. That's the only constructive criticism I'd want to give you on it.
And Gordon, if I may have your a favor, I know you are one of the few people that I know use Real eFlow for New England. Can we meet after and go over some numbers so I can get some adjustment closer to what the reality is?
Yeah, I mean, I could do it. I would suggest honestly, because I would go with, I can absolutely help you with it for real quick, but I would go offer someone that is what I would do on this is I would give this to a contractor and have them quote it out themselves and see where they're at.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
Jason actually might be able to give you a better number than I can right now because he's actively flipping in that area.
Okay, perfect. Jason.
I can give you what I was at. I do need to up some of the things based on my last flip because they keep changing. The one thing that we really need to know about these is they're never stationary. You never set it and forget it. Because prices are always moving up and down and up and down. So like after every flip you do, you then reevaluate how much it costs versus how much you guessed it would have cost and change your spreadsheet for the next one. That way you're always dialing closer and closer and closer and staying with it. That's something I've always done to try to make sure my mess doesn't happen that's happening now.
Mhm.
Just so you guys know, and I think you already know this, Dick and Yvette, we're picking to help right now. We're trying to get some help out there for you and for the rest of the community, not just trying to like bulldoze your spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It's coming from help.
I agree. That's what I'm reaching out.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I like this because it's nice because we get to review some things, see how other people are doing it, and then the people who haven't flipped, hopefully you'll get something out of this, right? Questions we're asking, things Yvette and Dickens have done. Gordon, your gut feel, what do you think this would cost in your area that you were flipping in New Hampshire? Because it feels a little low to me. This whole project at 250 square feet, everything needs to be done.
For this house right here,
Yeah.
I mean, I think I could do it for less than the 190 that they have.
I think I do it for over.
But I mean, like that would be just, that's because I'm looking at it as so my other question that I would have on it also would be, did you guys take into account, is there a spot where I can make this a 3-bed, 2-bath? Because it's only a 2-bed, 2-bath right now. So the question I would say is, as I walk in, I'm like, all right, where do I find the third bedroom? Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can be turning into a 3-bed.
Yeah, so that'd be one thing that I look at there. I'd have, I mean, definitely, I saw the pictures of it. Obviously, you did have there was some water damage that was inside of there. So, I mean, it could very well be all of 190 and above. It's a huge project for the pictures that I saw on it, right? But yeah, so I mean, especially have you guys ever flipped the property before?
No.
Yeah.
Personally, no, but I help. I partner. I did one in Wayland with another group. So I was part of it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So there's obviously a learning curve that happens throughout that process, anyways. That you're gonna spend some money on areas that you're not expecting. Like a gas-fired hot air heating system, AC system, and ductwork. Definitely gonna cost more than $6,900. No doubt. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what kind of system it is. Is it a hot air system that's in there, HVAC, or is it a forced hot water?
I have to double check.
Oh.
We're running about $12,000 right now, Dickens, for a forced hot air with ductwork, with the unit ductwork installation, everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
See something here. I'm pulling my last one.
What was
And
that?
then
Jason?
I'm a big
But
fan of the mini splits myself nowadays, but you know, both of those would run off of electric and then all that stuff comes into play as well. But dumpster rental.
So my Lancaster property, which is a 2,000 square foot, basically fully gut. We spent over $10,000 on dumpsters, just as a heads up. The price is going nuts on those things.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that dumpsters, especially for a 40-yarder, you are not gonna get a 40-yard dumpster in New England for $575. That's like the cost of a 15-yard dumpster nowadays in New England.
I think I was getting them for 700, but then you have to add weight cost, especially if you have, how old is this house?
1,800.
Yeah.
1,800.
Yeah.
All right, so you got horsehair plaster to deal with. When you open up the walls, you may have some damage from the water, but you also may have studs that aren't big enough to get the proper insulation in there to meet your R values. So you may have to pad out your studs.
It's not that old.
It's what is it?
It's only the 1960s.
Okay, then you probably won't worry about that. You may have to worry about the plaster, horsehair. But like I've had 2 houses that had to actually pad out the walls to get the R value in there.
Okay.
It's just
Yeah,
something
I was telling Dickens about your property in Lancaster where the dumpsters were out of control and you just had such a high cost in that line item. I was explaining that, but we didn't know the exact unit costs, which didn't help.
Yeah. So it's
I knew that was
$10,000
higher.
for, I gotta see how many dumpsters it was. I mean, my plumbing was like $23,000. That was doing 2 new that was redoing the heating ducts and 2 new bathrooms. In that one, electrical 16 for the whole house. So those type of things, they add up. Landscape was a ton. I messed up my landscape bad. Drywall was 13,000. That was for 2,000 square feet of drywall. Insulation was 12. You can see some of the numbers that I went into in the Worcester County.
Jason, right after this, do you want to share your screen if you have that in an Excel sheet to share with these guys?
I can show my disaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
A quote as of yesterday for a 15-yard dumpster. We are at 675 for a 15-yard. That's half of a 30.
Wow, that's really gone up. That's nuts. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. That's crazy. Also windows, and Dickens, take this for what it would be. So you have windows, you have a unit cost of $287.5, and I'm just going through this because you were asking for like what I would carry on that. For a window vinyl average size replacement, we're at like $400 to $450 a window now, which it's gone up drastically. I used to be at like this $275 number, but supply chains and everything, we're carrying like $400 to $450 per window now.
I think I carry 600 with install per window.
Whew, that's even more. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 5 in my area, but then it went up.
So these are just things I'm seeing within the rehab budget. That's all. So,
wow.
Just curious, wouldn't it be a good play to do Echo Green kind of shit, so that you get a lot more funding that way?
You mean like in regards to like rebates?
Yeah, and green. No time in the rehab. Okay. Thank you, Marcia. So, yeah, I was thinking that, but the boss spoke.
I like it. As a rehab, so there's obviously people. Nick, who was it that was in your office that left to like go work for like a green construction company? Who was that? What was her name?
Oh no, she went to go. She was selling solar. It was Brianna. We thought that she was working for green.
Oh, Shannon doing solar. So Brianna, that's right, Brianna. Right. So like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I would love to be able to say yes, like going green and building a more sustainable building would be awesome and everything, but the costs are still prohibitive to do that in our space.
Yep, timing too.
And it's good to get, I mean, you can definitely get rebates and things on stuff. Like we always get rebates now on the Nevian hot water heaters, things like that. Like we always get, good discounts on all those and rebates when we put those in the tankless hot water heaters. Even as a flipper, you can get rebates and all that stuff too.
Cool. So let's look at your ARVs,
Before we move on to the ARV, so You mentioned that Hammer Point and the Real Deal software is a good software as long as the units are correct. Are there other softwares that you recommend in terms of figuring out the rehab costs?
So there's another, I like the Really Flow one is totally fine. It's just something where, and this goes for any of these softwares that have automatic numbers put in there. You just have to always adjust them for the area that you're working in. So they're all the same where you have to adjust the numbers on them. And you always have to adjust the numbers, and Jason had mentioned it anyways, you know, things are always changing. But I like that one. There's also another good one that's called Flipper Force, which is nice as well. And you can literally like build a whole scope of work inside of it. And you can also use like it has a, you know, a construction schedule, and it helps you track all your costs nicely in there. And that one's like $50 a month. So it's a pretty good one.
Can
But
I ask
really-
a question?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, man.
So I think we did last year at some point. We went through a spreadsheet and had a bunch of numbers that I actually have been using as my estimator. Would it be possible either to do a session specifically for that and go line by line so that you guys, Jason, Gordon, you know, you can talk about each specific line item and everybody in the group would end up with something that's reasonably recent? I'd be happy to be the bookkeeper or the secretary.
I love it.
I'd be happy to talk about my numbers, but we got to know that different contractors charge differently too. So we can get it between all of us, we can get a decent amount, but like, don't kill us if you don't actually get that when you do a flip. That's the
If
hard
you
part.
got, yeah.
Things like that.
You know, absolutely. So like you can, I have no problem. We can definitely do a call. We can definitely go do that. And if you guys feel like there'd be value added in that, I would just say that, you know, the easy, quick, easy thing to do on it would be, you know, take the square footage. If it's a paint and carpet job, you know, add $25 a square foot to do it. Right. This is for wholesalers that are out there. If it's going to be a little bit, you know, if it's a little bit more entailed work, you know, do $40 a square foot. And then if it's kind of going to be like a really big construction project, give it $60K a square foot. Now, doing it that way, that wouldn't work on this one because this is kind of like a full freaking gut job, right? But as just like a rule of thumb, when you're running some quick, dirty numbers on there, that's something you can use as well. But yeah, but that would be, I have no problem with, you know, doing a call like that, Jack, if you guys feel like that'll be beneficial for y'all. Me and Jason coordinate on that and get that taken care of.
That project cost sheet that Jack's referring to, right? That was the one we went over on the weekend event. So those numbers were accurate as of October of last year. And so you guys all know these prices are changing every month, right? But if you guys do have that, I'm going to recheck to make sure that's in the Ignition Facebook group. But that is a resource that you all have.
Yvette does.
Well,
Yvette does. Okay. I got two more slides, the ARV. We render ARV.
I got questions on comps. Let's talk comps. Let's go.
Okay, let's talk comps. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We render the comps. We have a list of comps that we have. Is we went comp for 1 mile radius from the target property, plus minus 200 square foot. We have a mix of 2 or 3 bedroom because we were debating if we're gonna keep it as a 2 or 3, but at the end, we decide that if we were gonna do it, it's gonna be a 3 bedroom. Yeah, and I'm waiting for a question now.
So when you look at these,
sorry, go ahead, quick, Jason.
So say when you look at these, how many compare to flip quality the quality that you would do? And how many are, and which ones are the ones that are just mom and pop from the 70s, still has wallpaper?
Oh, good question.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I know that they were all, none of these were like rehab quality, like the quality that we were looking at for the rehab. So all of these were in a
Good
lot better condition.
shape.
Yeah, all of them were in good shape, but I didn't pull out the ones that were like, okay, this is how I want our flip to look. So
Yeah.
that's good. That's a
Yeah,
good
this looks
question.
like kind of overall feel, it looks like a shotgun approach to comps. Where you just pull a whole bunch of comps instead of more the laser focus on what exact properties are gonna be the ones that I'm going to be the closest to. That's gonna make me get the ARV I want.
Is there other criteria you use to pull these? Because these, I have some on MLS on my other screen, and just kind of wondering what you might have used to pull these ones.
So I used 1 to 1.5 mile radius from the area code.
From the area code or from the specific address?
From the area, from the specific street and the specific area code. So 1 to 1.5 miles.
So you put in 123 Main Street, Auburn, Mass, 1.5 miles from
I
there.
just put Boyce Street 01501.
Okay, and then did 1.5 miles out?
Yeah,
Did you do an MLS?
on
Yes.
MLS.
Yeah,
I'd put the exact address, because some of these streets can be very long.
Mhm.
That would get you closer to what's exactly around your house.
yeah, like we got 26 Boyce Street, that is flip quality, that's not on your list. So same street, a little bit further down.
How much?
So September for 420. So
That's a good point. I don't know, for those who use MLS, I remember the first time we run it, there's property that we found, I think 2 days ago, that is not on that list. And that's property that showed up and it's, so I don't know. And I remember when we were first working with it, with Yvette, both of them were running comps at the same time. And we had 2 different lists.
yeah, I mean, I'm not the pro, but I'm not anything more than 6 months in the past, I'm not using, or if I have to, I'm heavily adjusting. So I'm trying to stick around 3 and within 1 mile. And then you also gonna want to take into account the year build. This is the 60s, so I would do 60s or 50s maybe. And then obviously making sure it's something like really shiny. So the 26 Boyce Street, like I think your ARV could actually be higher.
I thought it could be higher, but I couldn't find the numbers to prove it. So that's why I used what I found.
There's a
But I
few
thought
other
it was
ones.
higher.
Yeah, I mean, if I go further out, there's a few other ones that look good. If I go to like 1.5 miles or so, there's a few, but yeah, I mean, averaging in some of these lower ones is probably hurting.
I would say that 420 Boyce one is actually by far max of what you would carry as an ARV. I think that's more of an outlier than anything. Because if you look at it, like there's also 74 Boyce Street that you guys have here that's sold on 9/15/22, 1,500 square feet, 3 beds, 1 bath that sold for 349.9. Obviously, it's not as nicely done as this one is. That's 420 Boyce. So I would do that. I would also take into account that it was sold in October, and we definitely have different interest rates now than we did back then. And looking at Boyce Street as well, and this is something that I think that we have to pay more attention to when we are running comps, is that this is a main street that looks like it's a cut through street that there's a double yellow line on it. That's like right off the bat, right when I see a double line on a street of a house that I'm looking at, I deduct 5% off of my ARV.
Okay.
I can
Because it's-
speak to that because I currently have a older house listed in Londonderry for 450,000 and we're on day 21 with no offer. Busy road, built in 1780. It makes a huge difference because 450 in Londonderry, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom should have flown. Should have been under contract the first weekend.
Yeah, the other thing I just noticed is some of the there's a highway that's right there. That's not too far. It's not, I don't think it's what Boyce is, but there's another comp I was about to say, oh yeah, 290 is right there. So within a mile is 100 Elmwood Street, which I was gonna say might help support the Boyce Street high number because that That one's really nice, and that sold for, I think, like 470, but that crosses 290, so we're kind of in like a totally different area. So again, you probably have to be a little bit more careful with staying in the same subdivision or whatever. But so yeah, I was gonna say that might support my 420, but I think Gordon's probably closer.
I think Anthony's a wholesaler, so he's likes to pick the highest one so he can justify his ARV.
That's what I'm trying to say not to do. I'm trying to. I found this one in Cambridge. It's only 40 miles away. Yeah.
Something else to consider. We're talking about ARV now in real time. How long is it going to take to flip this? What's going to happen in the market between that time? Do we expect the market to continue to trend down or trend up? Because if it's going to trend down and it's 420 ARV right now, it's going to take you 9 months to flip it. Say it's 1% per month. You have to trend your ARV down when you're doing that, or else you'll end up getting hurt.
It's
And
actually
the market
I kind of want
last
to
year
ask.
when everything was going up, you just go, cool, I earned an extra 20 grand. And now it's really important to do, or you'll end up like me.
I was kind of wondering about that because I've always heard you never want to account for appreciation, but obviously you'd want to, do that, like you're saying, like with that, should you, without having any kind of information of like rates are definitely doing whatever or whatever type of thing, like would you, in general, try to do that, like project, take a deduction from your ARV for just, based on where we are, just based on the current state of all of that stuff? Does that make sense to do just like as a general practice?
I would take a reduction in this market right now. Mario just said 2% per month, but you got to kind of know what's going on in the greater scheme of things. Like I believe right now we're down about 12% since last year. If you're trying to sell flip or something like that. Mario, where'd you get the 2% number from?
I pulled it out of my ass. No, from talking to people all over the country who've been in rehabbing, and they're getting between 1 and 3, so 2% makes sense. If you looked at Nick, I think pointed out, or Gordon did, with the hedge fund guys plays, and also with the appraised value. I mean the rates. You dropped last January to now. The buying. What? Marsha, do you want to answer for me? Because I guess you got the answers, so you answer. Come on, Mike.
Let's get the brains on.
Yeah, go ahead, Marsha. I'll shut up. Okay,
We
so
can't
can I
hear.
finish? Yeah, there you go. How convenient. No, that's my opinion from a mortgage point of view. As a guy who did it, your buying power was 500,000 ARVs in January last year. Is now at about what, 425?
Yeah,
you could take
plus
or
money,
leave it.
money down, all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
I think the biggest thing is you got to listen to what's going on in the market, but you also talk to somebody that does a bunch of flips. They're going to know what's going on.
I mean, Jason brought up a great point in regards to holding costs. So what were we carrying for the amount of time that we were going to be, this flip was going to take?
That's gonna be the next slide.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Oh, look at that. That's pretty.
Good timing. Wow. It's almost like I knew what was going on.
I think Dick paid you. He set it up perfectly.
We scheduled for 6 months holding costs. Yeah.
Okay. So is Janine or Jack on this call? Are they here? Jack was, right?
I'm here.
Cool.
I'm here too.
How long was from purchase to sale for your guys flip?
Well, that's probably not a really good example because it was very light.
This
And
is why it's
so-
a very good example. This is why it's a very
okay.
good example.
So it's a good example because it was very light. And
Yeah.
to top it off, Janine's an absolute animal at getting stuff done. So
Yeah. I like it.
from the day we bought it till closing is going to be 3 months and 2 days.
3 months. That's what I thought. So 3 months for a very much, which is probably a fluff and buff type of flip, right? And Janine's a bulldog because she's a female and that's what females are. They just crush things way better than us men do. And so she got it all done quickly and everything. And that was a real quick fluff and buff, right? So I would say without a doubt that this full gut rehab thing you should be carrying probably, and again, and this comes also into like time frame, right? So like, let's say it's an REO, so it's going to close at the very earliest. We're going to say it's going to close sometime in April, right? It's called the end of April at the earliest. Banks love to drag things around. Say that you even do finish it in 6 months. Where does that bring you in the marketplace?
October.
Right.
October.
So you've already missed that window, right? Of like where most of the properties are moving at. So that's one of those things where I definitely would take into account as well of the time frame that you're going to be selling it in. In 6 months, I would absolutely be personally, when I be running these numbers, I would be saying 9 months of a holding cost on this.
9 months. Okay.
That's what I'm averaging, 9 months for a big thing like that.
Okay. That's a long time.
Mm-hmm. Which means that you're going to end up having it probably through the winter, which means you're going to end up having to heat it, right?
Yeah.
And shovel and maintenance and all that stuff. Now that doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying when we're going into it, that's how I'm looking at and thinking about it.
For that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you even do this deal right now? Would you do
I would
something
throw-
that
I
needs
would-
that much work?
I would throw up all over it. I would walk right away from it. You honestly could not give me this deal. I would not take it if you gave it to me for free. Like literally, you could not give it to me because if you gave it to me, I would have to put a bunch of resources into it. And there are better deals that are going to be out there this deal would take my resources and take my time away from better deals and better opportunities that would be out there. That's how I look at it.
Okay.
I'm scared of the market. So when these long flips, I'm not touching right now.
So a random newbie question, because of the high cost of the construction and everything and how long it would take, would this be a candidate for like a demo reconstruction? Like a new build? Like a full?
I would have to
teardown?
look at, the question I would have on that one, I would have to look at the foundation first. So it does look like it's a fieldstone foundation and it does look like there could be foundational issues there. And just some of the pictures that I saw, that would tell me whether or not I would want to have to go that route. But I mean, honestly, at $100,000 of $100,000 buildable lot in Auburn, it's probably worth it, right? I mean, a buildable lot in Auburn, that's what is this, 0.35 acres or something like that? Someone might be thinking that, someone might be thinking, whoever has it under contract might be thinking that exact same thing. You know what? I'm better off just tearing this thing down and building from scratch. They might be thinking that. Something to think about. I mean, great question. I mean, but because like, I don't know, like look up and see what a buildable lot goes for in Auburn. I don't know what it would be, but I bet you it's probably closer to 200 than anything, maybe 150.
Yeah, the only question I ask, don't you want to check with the town about grandfathering? Sometimes when you knock down things, it goes into the 2023 regs instead of back in the grandfather days. I've always liked to keep a piece of shit and keep the door in front there so it stays in the footprint and then build around it.
Absolutely.
That's me, because I'm old school.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, obviously you gotta go to the town. Obviously, it depends on the condition of the foundation. I don't know, is this town water, town sewer, or is it septic?
It's down sewer. Down.
Okay,
Water.
so we don't have to worry about that. So that's good. Okay. Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, yeah, no, absolutely. Sometimes it's absolutely better not to have to rip it down. And if you can just do an addition to it, if you want, or build up, if you want added square footage, but the foundation, looking at that foundation and the amount of, there's obviously mold and mildew and stuff inside there. That does raise some red flags to me.
Thank you, Derek. That was a really excellent question.
You're dealing on, you got financing costs. What rates are you using for this?
We use 12% 2 point hard money.
Okay. Yeah, keeping that's always moving too. I just had a friend tell me they got quoted 14% and 1.5 points on hard money yesterday.
How much?
Oh my God, 14%, 1.5 points, and we know this hard money lender too, so he's not a random dude.
Wow.
It's also your experience, so it could be even higher.
Yeah, I mean, so I would definitely say for like anybody, obviously Yvette, Dickens, anybody that hasn't done a flip yet, like you are going to want to partner with somebody like Jason that has done a bunch, that has done flips and that can get you preferred rates, right? Because I know that, you know, if you have 10 flips or more, you're going to get a heck of a lot more of a preferred rate than someone that has 10 or less.
Yeah, you got to build that portfolio, and the first time you're going to take, unless you're with someone that's done it before, you're going to take a hefty hit on those rates.
Some hard money lenders won't even lend to you if you haven't done 3 deals.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Mhm.
my guys
Now
like
that's
that.
correct.
Mhm.
Yep,
If you're not-
now that's correct.
Gotcha.
We do have, we're working on a couple of affiliate relationships for Ignition folks specifically, but yes, you're gonna have to pretty much show your track record, right? To get the 9.5, 10.5. We're still right now, you're floating around 10.5, even for experienced borrowers. So just keep that in mind. And a lot of us, Jason, you included, have decided you are not doing any rehabs this particular upcoming 6 to 8 months. So don't you dare put your name out there. Myself as well, you guys, and Gordon as well. There's a reason that we're staying away from heavy rehabs. There's a reason.
I just bought 10 houses yesterday. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
Local to you and with your business plan. Yes.
Can we hear about that, Gordon?
It's a
Where did you
different play.
find 10 houses?
I'll talk. I can talk about it later. I don't want to. I want to make sure we get through all this. I want to get through all this stuff. We can talk about it some other time.
Yeah, we do that later in this call or next call. I
Yeah,
can take up a whole call, right, Gordon?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could. If you want to hang out and we can talk about it a little bit later if you guys want to, even afterwards. I just want to make sure we get all through all this because I think this has been very. I think this has been great and beneficial for everybody involved to see how this is unfolding.
Yeah. Can I ask you guys a question about flips?
Yes, you
What
can.
would be the minimum amount of money you would do a flip for?
What do
So
you
like
mean
when
by
I'm
that?
analyzing and I see like 40 grand, you know, that to me is worth it, but what's not worth it?
My floor was 40 or 10%. That's what I did last year.
What was that,
Okay.
Jason?
My floor last year was $40,000 or 10% ROI. It had to hit both those numbers.
Oh, you saying
if
what
you
you would do
bring-
for a repair, a return? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
No, when would you walk away from a deal? What's the minimum?
As a flip. So I look at it this way, I will wholesale it unless I can get 2.5% more by fixing and flipping.
Well, assuming a wholesaler is bringing it to you, so wholesaling it isn't an option.
Okay. Then yes, I would go off of, I mean, I kind of like a minimum of 40K as well, as Jason just put in the chat. But that depends on the purchase price. So, and as he's saying here, Jason says 10% ROI. So if it's like a $600,000 home, then yeah, I want to do a minimum of $60,000.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. And that's just risk tolerance type of thing. If it's $1 million, I would even go up higher than that though. I'd really be closer to like, we need to make like 200K, 250K.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's going to take you longer too, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and I would stay away from any $1 million home right now anyways. But that's just, unless you're in South Carolina. But
I'd love to, you guys are gonna love, I know Jason, Dan, and Janine, you're gonna love this. I'm gonna post our MRP, minimum required profit matrix in the Ignition.
Oh, nice.
I
like it. Have all of that for what ARV and level of rehab, our profit requirement goes up. But our quick number was in a bad market, we required 20% of a margin of ARV, 20% of ARV. As it got super competitive, we went down to 12% of ARV for profit requirement, minimum of 40,000. And right now, if it makes you, I mean, we're obviously trying not to do any heavy rehabs right now, but right now we're at between 16 and 18% of ARV for profit requirement, because that's where we feel the market is. It's risky market again.
Okay, that helps.
I'll post
Now, if
that
you
nice
bring a
matrix.
partner, if you're slicing that pie and bringing a partner in, do you change that, or do you just assume you're doing half as much work?
Do you? What's your goal?
Yeah, thank you. Great question. What's a better question?
Well, I wanted to go look at a property myself, and because my hard money lender won't lend to just me, I have to bring a partner. So that beckons the question of, what margin is it worth it for me? Especially if I know, if I'm doing the project management and I have to be there and be present more often, is it worth my time?
Great question.
Is it?
What is the other person taking on? Or are they just bringing the hard money loan?
They want to split duties, but that's somebody that says they want to split duties. You just don't know until you're in it if they're splitting duties or not. So I don't necessarily want to split duties. I would rather be the project manager on my own and not split it 50-50. So my offer to him was, you just get the loan, I'll give you 20% and you just sit back.
I mean, you should give me a call about that. I mean, that sounds good to me. I can do that from South Carolina all day.
Okay. Good to know.
I'm gonna flip right now. I'm doing that. I got the loan, put down the seed money, and they're doing all the work.
Okay.
So it does.
So what's your split on that?
You don't want to know. He gave me 50%. I said, okay.
So when I first started doing flips, Janine, that's how I did it. And that's how I raised private money, when I literally had no money whatsoever. And I was like, had a 480 credit score, 430 credit score, right? Like literally all I would do is I would go find the deal and I would do everything. And the other person just brought all the money. They were a silent partner. They didn't want anything to do with it. And I would split it 50-50 with them.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, my problem is I have the money too, which is so frustrating.
That's a good problem to have. That's a good problem.
So that's not a 50-50 split then, Janine, right? Right.
Right,
Remember,
exactly.
do you guys remember the JV? Did we put that JV equity spreadsheet into the Ignition chat, I think a while back? So take a look at that. But the guarantee on the loan is worth something, right? Being able to access cheaper capital is worth something. The deal is worth something, bringing that to the table. Project management's worth something. Property management's worth something. So just make sure whatever's worth it to you, like, hey, this is me. I have this, and this. I want to do this. I need this. I key principal. I need to get cheaper hard money. I need to whatever. And, loan guarantors, right? Depending 20%, 10%, depending on the deal, right?
Okay.
If they're the only one signing, it would be 20-25% because now they have all the risk, right? If you're putting up some of the capital though, now you have some risk in there. So it's a conversation that you can have for sure.
Yeah, the hard part with the person put down all the money is, and the loan is, you just decide you don't want to do it anymore.
That's right. What
repercussions do you have, Janine? Because I have a loan against me personally, guaranteed. You walk away and I go, oh shit. Well, I guess I gotta flip it a deal now. And you go, cool, I'm done.
Right.
But
But if I put my money in and you're just guaranteeing the loan, I've got skin in the game.
You got some skin.
Oh, yeah.
If
you're doing the money,
basically what I'm trying to get at is you got to know who you're working with and vet them too. Like a guy I did it with has done a bunch of flips. I trusted him. Things going well, but don't just be like some dude off the street that you meet and like, cool, let's do something together. Here's all my money.
Right.
And give me a call in 6 months when the house is done.
Yeah, Janine, you can find people that would be absolutely willing to do that deal with you that way.
Okay.
Where it was like, hey, if you want to, just get me the loan, someone that's experienced, I'll give you 20-25% if you do the loan, and I'll take care of everything else. Like all day, you'll be able to find someone to do that.
Yep.
Okay.
Nick, I think just texted me saying that he would do that.
I did.
I think I just got a few texts from some people. No, I'm just kidding.
20%.
I didn't get the deal. The wholesaler has it locked up too high.
And again,
the numbers didn't make sense.
Yeah. And again, yeah, right. The numbers have to make sense. The deal has to be different, right? Like, so if you were bringing me this deal that we're going over and we're looking at, I wouldn't want to do this one. Right.
Sure.
Because it's just too long of a project. It depends. But if we were talking about that, behavioral one that you guys just, or Bradford, wherever it was, right? Like that's a no freaking brainer. Right.
Yeah.
Nice. So things like that. Yeah, maybe, but not really. You'll be all right. There'll be others. There's good ones like that. And then there'll be everyone's Lancaster. And so so Jason has Lancaster, I have Peterborough, Nick has many of them. I won't, but we won't just call one. They all
Nice.
happen.
No,
$50,000
no salt. in the
budget,
wound.
Lancaster.
I've had plenty
With
of them.
the
The worst
blown-
ones I've done, the worst ones I've had are the ones that are on the main street. Like I had one in Derry that I did. Good market, Derry, New Hampshire, nice, good little home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. But it sat because it was on a main road and it had a lot of high traffic that came through.
Ah, nice.
What is it?
This
It's
is
not
very helpful.
if you lose money, it's when you lose money in this game. It will happen.
Yep. It's a numbers game.
When you guys have blown your budgets, has it been due to things that have sprung up or scope creep, adding things to the scope that you weren't originally anticipating?
Yes.
Obviously both, but like what happens
Yes.
more?
I knew that.
Yes.
I concur.
Yes.
Is there one that happens more than the other? Because Jack and I, we added a ton of stuff to our scope that we never planned to do.
Yes. That's usually what will happen. For me,
Okay.
that's what happens. For me personally, that is typically what will happen is the unforeseen cost of me getting emotionally attached to a project and saying, hey, this looks cool. I'd like to add this because this will sell. This will help sell it. And then I add it in there.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And the
Well,
moment you
that's good to
do
know.
open up walls.
Step in.
Go ahead, Dan. Yep.
My experience is the part that sucks is when the inspectors step in and they get on their power trip and you can't do anything. I mean, you could fight them, but they're just going to drag out your timeline. So the emotional attachment thing, you can maybe keep that in check. But fighting a town inspector, because they're always right, you kind of have to pick your battles with them. So they could jack your cost like you wouldn't believe just because they just don't like the way you looked at them. So
Great point. Absolutely.
Amen.
Yeah, but always give them the inspector, especially in New York, an envelope, or you leave a railing.
Yo,
Give 'em something
paisan.
that is frowned upon, Mario. Frowned upon.
Yeah, it is. But on a serious note, the railing. I learned a long time ago to leave the railing for going up the steps to the front door or going down the basement. They say, what a dumbass Mario is. And I'm laughing because tomorrow I put it in and it's done. You gave the building inspector what he wants. He's a power trip. Most of those guys got such a power trip. Or you put a 10 millimeter, either one. They work.
Yeah. And then on a full gut like this, right? On a full gut job like this one, you once you go over a certain threshold, you literally, the inspector, like Dan is saying, is going to make you bring this 100% up to today's standards and codes. So that's a whole other thing that comes into play with it as well. Even if you buy a house that is built with 2x4s, like it's built in an area where it's 2x4 nominal exterior walls, which is no longer code because you can't fit the right fiberglass insulation on there, right? Then you actually have to do a spray foam in there to get the proper R rating to meet it inside of that inside of that little cavity, right? And that the cost of spray foam is way more than insulation.
We had to do that.
So why couldn't you do blown in?
Blown in's not going to give you the R value.
Oh.
We also had to
Yeah,
pad
the
out.
only other option is you have to fur out your walls and make them 2 inches deeper, which that's
Yep, we've done that one too, absolutely. But
Yeah,
when
we
lumber
did.
was at like $10 a 2x4, it wasn't really. That's definitely more expensive. But yeah, absolutely.
So Nick was gonna say something about opening walls.
Don't do it.
I think you already heard. I mean, the bottom line is the more the inspector has to play with, right, the more that they can make your life a little bit harder. So the moment you open a wall, right, depending on what you open, you now technically have to pull a permit. You now technically have to bring everything up to code. So that could be yes, the rule says it has to be 50% of the property or more for you to bring the whole thing up to code electrically, plumbing, drain lines. However, as Dan mentioned, the inspector can make you do anything he wants you to do. So you open up one wall and you might have an inspector saying, now you have to upgrade the entire electrical service and all the lines for the entire building. Is that what the code says? No, it's not. But if you fight them, here we go. we're in the game, right? And he's going to drag out the inspections because now you're a problem, right? And he'll oh, I'm just not going to show up for that rough inspection. I'm just not going to approve that because he's missing a faceplate or she's missing a faceplate. There's a whole bunch of little things that they can do to make that worse. So the moment you open a wall, you have literally opened the can of worms, as people say, because you're open to anything now that's behind that wall. That's the overage in budget. That's a big overage in budget, right? So we can control our 20% contingency for saying, okay, if we open up this wall, let's throw an extra 20% at our systems, at our insulation, at whatever it is that we're going to be forced to do to upgrade that we can't see when we walk through the property initially. But sometimes that 20% is blown. Your contingency is blown when you have an inspector that says, bring the whole thing up to code. And you're like, I don't have to do that. They're like, sure you do. Because I say you do, right?
They call it their interpretation of the code.
Yes.
Not black and
Yeah,
white.
so
It's
just when you open up a wall, we actually, so our contingency, if this helps anybody, you know, as time went on, we would have a 20% contingency on our rehab budgets when we like, quote unquote, didn't know a lot. And then as we got really, really good and really, really tight and started sourcing materials in-house, we dropped that down to a 10% contingency. As we continued, the moment we knew we had to open up a wall, we went back to 25% contingency on the budgets. Because we just didn't, you know, we just didn't know.
Yep.
So don't open up walls. Got it.
If you can go without it, it's better to go without it. Yes.
If you open the
Okay,
wall, just
noted.
assume you're gonna do budget all electrical, no
Okay.
plumbing.
We almost opened the walls, but we didn't, did we, Jack? Good for us.
Don't do it.
Open your
Almost.
wall,
We-
open your wallet.
I hate those stupid
There it
flipping
is.
shows, but one of the things that is correct is you will find something really fucked up you did not look out for, even though you've looked hard, you went over it like 3 times, your contractor went through it, and then the wall above the kitchen's unstable when they move a wall that the contractor didn't know about. Stuff like that. Not saying that happened, it did happen.
Awesome.
But rehabbing is fun, you guys. Jump in. It's a good time.
I mean, it can earn some good money if you do it right. It is.
Yes.
I mean, Janine, tell us about your experience with rehab. What do you think, goods, bads, uglies? You just did one.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this was a unicorn. I feel like they're not all going to be like this. So I don't want to get my hopes up that they're all going to be this amazing, but you know, our asking price elevated as we got closer to the list date. So that was very fortunate and very lucky because there was very low inventory in that price point. And then we got multiple offers, and our final offer that we accepted was 32,000 over asking, and it was a home inspector buying it, so he waived inspections. So we're still waiting on the appraisal, but all in, at the end of the day, we should make almost exactly 100K profit, which is
Amazing.
at that
Boom.
price point is insane to me.
Let's look at the.
Fuck yes.
How was it chasing?
Good job, guys.
Good job.
Well done.
What was that, Jason?
How was it working with contractors? They show up when they're supposed to all the time, right?
I had an amazing team. Yes.
What about
I
your
mean, there were
electrician?
days they weren't there, but it was such minimal work, and I had really good crew.
Not
Yeah,
helping.
you're
Really
right.
good
It's a
crew.
unicorn. You're right.
Yeah,
It's a
I was like,
unicorn.
Janine, you're not helping.
You
my
nailed
people.
it.
Stop talking. You're done.
Yeah.
I know. I'm very lucky.
Yeah, but that's
Very
important.
lucky.
That's important that the first one is a huge win. Like, it's very important that it's a win.
I think my first
Yeah,
one
so
alone.
that
that's cool.
definitely lights the fire for the
Yeah.
next one.
Mhm.
So I'm looking. And now I don't know what the update is, but those same contractors may potentially be buying a property from Jack that is that one that we all looked at and it was just too big. So those young guys, those contractors might buy it and live in it and fix it up.
Awesome. That's perfect. The one in Haverhill there, Jack, that you got?
Yeah, as of now, they are buying it.
That's awesome.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Janine, on your
So
next
that's
one, just make sure you're not just chomping at the bit to get one. Make sure it's the right one.
I know.
I've been there before. Like,
I
I
know.
must have one now.
I know. I almost wrote an offer sight unseen the other day, and I was like, whoa, who do you think you are? Don't do that. Slow down a minute.
Well, if you get the contingency to get out of it, it's not a big deal, but the subject to equity partner approval line that some of us put in there, so you can wander off. But if you don't get that, yeah. And your equity partner could be your cat, could be anyone, doesn't matter. Cat could be put in $5. So don't ever take an offer with that either.
I would love if there's ever a call that we could focus on writing offers and like, I know we're not supposed to write our own contingencies, but like if we're submitting offers ourselves as investors, like can we go over like some of the like kind of standard things we might want to put in that?
Yeah.
There's a whole thing that Mr. Nick Olerud has available. He's gonna put it into REI Ignition today, while going through a whole entire offer.
You should see what I'm putting into Ignition today during this call. You
I
guys
know
don't
he
even
is.
know how much work I'm putting in.
I can look at him. As soon as these questions come, he's like firing it right in there. It's unbelievable. I love it.
Let's see, guys.
Remember that
yeah.
one, but Janine, yes, we do have lots of resources on that.
Yep.
We'll make sure we get something in there.
Look at this.
Yeah, I wouldn't overcomplicate it in regards to contingencies and writing an offer. You know, I don't put a ton of contingencies in there at all. Because and me personally, I use the standard, unless it's going to be a subject to deal, create a finance deal, right? That's a different ball game where we have to have certain verbiage in there. But if we're doing a standard offer, I use the state the state MLS realtor contract all the time.
Okay.
Because everybody knows what that looks like and it doesn't scare anybody off. Right. And it makes everybody feel easy. Right. It's like some of these contracts that you get from some of these people, you know, like Pace Morby's contract, it's like 18 pages long and it's full of stuff that would just scare everybody. You know what I mean? If
you're not licensed, can you use a contract from a state that you're not
just Google
licensed
it.
in?
You can just Google it, it'll pop right up. Yeah, just Google it as a PDF. You can download the PDF.
Better than this though, guys. I think this is going to be good for the next Ignition call. Why don't we go over the national P&S that we've all developed with Meg?
Yeah, it's a good one
that we can go through that has all the contingencies in it. You guys should have access to it. We're using that as a tool to bring people into Ignition. So I want to make sure you guys have access to it. You're comfortable in how to use it, and it is effective in all 50 states. So why don't we do that for the next call? If you guys are good with that.
I'm good with that.
That'd be awesome.
Here's a quick
Hey,
thing.
Nick, you're adding stuff into Ignition, but I'm only seeing that you added one thing. Did you only add one thing?
I added the profit requirements. I added a link to how to do an ARV through the MLS, which is a very old video, but it's still there. And I also added, what was the first thing we went over? Oh, I tagged you all in the project form sheet that was accurate as of October. Instead of hammer point, using the rehab checklist.
Yeah.
Are they underneath the files tab? Is that where we find them, or is it just in there?
Yep. Any files that have ever been uploaded are in the files tab. If you guys also could do me a huge favor, as you guys go through these files or you go through these Ignition calls, I know Derek was doing this for a while too. If you guys could do hashtags with subjects and topics, that way it'll make it super easy for anyone else to find it. Right? Just put a hashtag in the comments with what it is that we're doing or chatting about. I'm trying to do the same thing, but that would be hugely helpful.
Wow. Perfect. And Jason, we're gonna schedule a call so I can update my my armor point.
Yeah, we can go through what happened in Lancaster, because I gotta update mine too. With what's going on.
Awesome.
Perfect. Let me stop sharing. Perfect. Okay. Yeah.
What do you think, Jason? 113.
What's that?
113. Anything else you guys want to do for closeout? People are still here. Look at everybody's still actually paying attention.
I like
this
that.
Is cool.
When did Kyle show up?
Yeah, there he is.
And he's driving. He doesn't have like an air duct above him.
That's weird. It's definitely way to. Anybody have anything else?
Kyle's playing hooky today.
Oh.
Oh.
What do you think? 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 What do you think?
Yeah, I might have called out from work today. I can't confirm that.
Yeah,
I
this
went
goes
to bed at like
looks
1
good.
o'clock.
Jeez. You're young though, you can handle that stuff.
Exactly.
Before we close it out though, anybody have any other questions about this process that we just talked about, or Dickens and Yvette's Auburn deal?
I failed. I just gotta say I failed. I was supposed to just be an observer today and I couldn't help myself. So I apologize. I suck at it. I just can't. I can't.
No, we need your input. Don't be an.
I just can't do it. I'm like, I'm just gonna be an observer today. I'm not gonna say anything. I just can't help myself. It's like a problem.
I have power. Watch this. I muted Gordon.
Nice.
Fuck you.
Honestly, I want to thank everybody. It was it was, even though that deal is just get under contract, we won't be able to bid on it, but it's the process was very helpful. Yvette and I will learn a ton. I'm gonna let Yvette talk for herself, but I learned a ton, and that's why we are in that group. Those things, you cannot have it in if you're not a group like that.
Yeah,
Dude,
I appreciate all your input. Just learning how to do all these numbers and figure it all out, and what makes a good deal and what isn't a good deal. I see something falling apart and I'm like, we can fix this and sell it. It's great, but it's not always great. So it's nice to get input from people who know what they're doing. So I appreciate you all.
I encourage you to do what I did in the beginning. Go through MLS, find fucked up houses. Sorry, Gordon, about swearing. And analyze them. Like just do work. You might not be looking to buy that one, but you're flexing that muscle. So you're learning how to analyze, you're learning how to look at things, and then you bring them, and then you guys can talk together and then talk with us and be like, what do you think of this? So it's a learning experience. I analyzed a crap ton before I even offered anything, just so I got used to it. I went to see him.
That's the same advice I give every new investor that I've ever talked to. They're like, well, how do you get started? Go to every open house you can get your hands on, call up a contractor that you might know, pay him $100 to walk the property with you and ask him, how much does that kitchen look like it's going to cost? And then the next one you go and look at, if it's better than the one you just looked at, it's probably going to be more expensive. If it's worse or smaller, it'll probably be a little bit less, but at least bring a contractor with you to an open house and you can get a sense as to where things stand and then compare everything to that baseline.
And you two are realtors, so you can just go to a foreclosure home anytime you want, pretty much.
Yeah, those are fun too. I go to vacant houses I used to do that all the time. Foreclosed homes, REOs. I used to walk them all the time, run numbers on them all the time, run rehab numbers on them, and just get dialed in with it.
So you're working on your numbers, but you're also working on your vision. Because you got to figure out how you can value add these houses. Where does a third bedroom go? How do we put another bathroom? How do we redesign the layout? And then you can get to the point where does that redesign make sense? So what's the plus and the minus? How much it's going to cost? How much it's going to get for quality? But that was one of the harder things in the beginning was you don't just walk through the house and go, okay, new floor, new paint, new this. You may have to redesign the whole thing. If you have that vision, then you may be able to offer more than someone else and make a lot more than someone else. Because they didn't see that. They just looked in and said, this is what it looks like now. It's got to look like this after, but prettier.
And thanks for putting that
Anyone
presentation.
needs help with that, let me know.
Ooh, I like that. I was gonna nominate you, but I didn't want to do it. The
Get out of it.
And if and thank you all for really putting the presentation together, Dickens and Yvette, like that. Thank you very much for sharing that and putting that deal out there. So I think that we all learned something from it today. So that's awesome. Appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick, you got final words for us too?
No final word. I was an observer today. Do you see that? See how I just shut my mouth the whole time? You guys see that? That's pretty good.
No, I don't think so. I mean, you did better than me, but not nice. Not really.
Love you guys. That's it. 118. Appreciate you. Have a very powerful fucking week, and make sure you do what is required. See you soon.
Take care.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Right.